Since I started making videos on this channel, one of my longest issues that I've had with society is the mystical fanfare of just believing anything and somehow getting mad when others don't believe it because the story doesn't make sense. You have real stories of people being kidnapped, brutalized, beaten, tortured mentally and physically, and yet those stories are too direct for the psyche of somebody who just wants to be entertained online. Those stories hurt just a little bit too much because they're too real. It's more easy to believe a sob story that's based upon nothing but ego and somebody hoping others believe it, and then when you have somebody like me coming in and saying, something here doesn't make sense, you'll get people very animated at me, but then I end up being right, and that story that people were willingly able to defend is not really capable of being defended. Why? Because the person made it up and they were desperate for a little bit of attention. And that's really what it all comes down to at the end of the day. Attention. You came out of the womb and the attention you needed from your mother's nipple, you couldn't latch onto. Your mother didn't give you enough of that little nipple juice deep inside. So you seek attention from different places and different things. And sometimes getting attention by trying to perform a stunt could be viewed as a funny, a little ha-ha, a little chuckle. But in the grand scheme, once you decide to do something that garners the attention of the police and maybe the FBI and officials talking about the dangers of society and how at any given moment something could happen, that's when you lose the plot just a little bit. So, submitted for the approval of the Midnight Society, allow me to introduce you all to Autumn Tomlin. Terrible name. A foolish, ugly individual who decided to let the growing populace in her community know that she was the victim of a crime. And you would think that, depending on some people in this world who would like to say that people don't really spend time investigating these things and they don't care about it, you would think the police didn't bother caring about this woman and didn't bother caring about anything going on in her life. Well, you'd be wrong. They investigated, and you know what they found out? The story was absolute bullshit. An 18-year-old Kentucky woman named Autumn L. Tomlin, terrible name again, has been charged with felony false reporting after police say she lied about being in a Walmart bathroom earlier this month. Authorities say their investigation found evidence refuting Tomlin's claims, and they are urging the public to be cautious about spreading unverified information on social media that could undermine the trust in law enforcement's handling of such serious allegations. My God, do I even need to read anymore? Because all I needed was that right there. An understanding from a police department that when people dedicate so much time to creating their fan fiction and wanting everybody to pay attention to a story about assault, kidnapping, bodily harm, it is the police's job to look into this, because I think we could all agree, if the police hear a story and they just say, nah, we not bothering it, that's bad. So you would think anytime police have to hear about a story, they're going to investigate. And when it ends up being true, lock them up. Great job caring about the community and wanting to keep the community as safe as you could. But when the story ends up being fake, it needs to be something to where you make an example out of the person who decided to lie and garner a bunch of attention. Because you mean to tell me you just went to Walmart and instead of saving money and living great or whatever the fuck the slogan is at Walmart, you just decide to go in that funk ass bathroom and pretend like you was the victim of a crime, knowing, in case anybody's unaware, cameras are everywhere. Walmart got cameras in every given fucking direction. You can't really get away with shit in Walmart, much like you used to in common society. Now, because people want to prioritize being safe, you're going to have people wanting to know, okay, how do we pinpoint her steps from the parking lot to the bathroom? And at what moment did anyone else go into the bathroom? Did they go into the bathroom at the same time? Were they already in the bathroom? Did they go in the bathroom and never come out? It's factors that have to go into an investigation that need to be actually done when you dot your I's and cross your T's, because if you don't, well, that's just a poor job on the investigative front of the police department. And what does it say that somebody could just willingly try to set somebody up? Because I don't know if any of these idiots ever realize it. When you lie about something happening to you and you make it seem like someone else did the thing to you, you're essentially putting a target on everybody's back if they fit a description. If they match a potential description and they just so happen to line up with going into the bathroom either before or after you, guess what? You've now put a spot on their back. And now they're going to have to get questioned. They're going to have to get interrogated about doing something that they never even fucking did. So you set somebody else up for your fanatical attention seeking, which could lead to consequences for them if somehow they're not able to prove their own fucking innocence. False reports of can have damaging impact, discouraging real victims from coming forward and diverting critical resources away from legitimate investigations. Oh, wow! This case highlights the need for thorough, evidence-based inquiries into such claims before conclusions are drawn in order to maintain public trust and ensure justice is served. Allegations, this is coming from a press conference from the police department, or a press release if you'd bother to go up that route with the wording. Allegations of this nature are incredibly serious and need to be thoroughly investigated before conclusions are made. I feel like I already just read that. False reports negatively impact other victims who want to report their trauma while also undermining public trust. Thank you, this random police department, for furthering the conversation about how attention seeking via framing crimes happening to you and saying that other people did them is wrong. It's not beneficial to the outgoing apparatus. It's not what people would want to spend their time talking about, even though there will be people who claim to care, who will spend all this time saying it happened and it's true and you should care, because if you don't care, you're the problem. And you'll always be the problem. Yet, when it comes time for the Pied Piper to sing his song, magically the audience has dispersed. They don't want to be around it anymore. They don't want to sit in the crowd. They don't want to make their TikToks. They don't want to fan the flames of a little bit of division because they're bored and they need a boogeyman to chase. They're just that dedicated for the attention of being viewed as a good person, while conveniently stories of real victims, of real people who were kidnapped, real people who were abused, really don't get that same level of traction because the story is a little bit too dramatic and evil for somebody to bring up. It's a little bit too on the nose. It's a little bit too direct. You need a little bit of pizzazz. You got to have a little bit of a catchy tune to it. You got to have a little bit of intrigue to get somebody invested, because it's more important for these dumb fucks to be entertained than it is for them to actually want to seek justice or to make sure that a growing community and the people in it are fucking safe, because that seemingly isn't as juicy as, oh my God, person got kidnapped on the interstate while trying to save a baby that was just left there, while in reality they was in the fucking sewers masturbating the Cheez-Its and decided to go home. But I digress on that one, because that's just me being a little bit fucking petty and not really allowing time to go by, because as people say, time equates to forgiveness, and I will not forgive Carly Russell for just getting a bunch of people animated while she was just stealing from a job and deciding to go sit in the fucking stores. But let me know what you think about people who fake being kidnapped and assaulted in the comments down below. I, every time it comes up, agree with the people who say there needs to be a prison sentence or some form of punishment for people who lie about these things. And I need it more and more, because the more it becomes a thing where people want to try, the more we need examples of why you should probably not try those things. Subscribe to the channel. I shall see you all in the next one. Mwah. Goodbye.